I look back at the first time I ever tried meth, and I was 19, I was newly out. I'd been sexually active for a while, but I had really bad self-esteem, or just a poor self-image. And while I'd been having sex and was sexually active, I had this vague recognition that I was using it very much as a tool for validation rather than for pleasure. There was an element of pleasure, but that wasn't the main drive. It was this need to have somebody telling me that I meant something to them by their willingness to have sex with me, to spend time with me, to engage with me online. And so when somebody proposed it, and when somebody said, I'm here, I'm partying, P&P was the common acronym in the US, I had never really attached stigma to drug use, so it wasn't something that I would absolutely rule out, even though I had this recognition that there was harm and danger involved in it. But for me, those considerations went by the wayside simply because it's like, this is a person who's willing to have sex with me, so I will do anything it takes in order to have that closeness and get that validation. I went to quite a dodgy part of town, to this place that is now infamous, where I'm from, called the Crystal Palace, which is basically a crash pad where meth users would go and they would use and be there for days on end. So I got there and, the guy was hot, and so that was the impetus. Here's this hot guy who's willing to have sex with, chubby, awkward me. Why not? As time went on, it was something that I would do only if it was on offer. I never once paid for meth. I never once sought it out. But if it was there, it was something that I would never turn down. It became a problem not in itself, where for many people I know it is. They say meth is the addiction, it's the driver. For me, it was incidental, but it was problematic in that it was being done for all the wrong reasons. It was something that I was wanting to be there without seeking it out, only because I felt like it facilitated a connection with people. In my mind, I was so low, I was so undesirable, I was so unworthy, and these people who were using it to, I was being blinded to what they were going through, but they were so hot, they were so attractive. It's like the fact that they're willing to do this. I will do anything to sleep with this person, because the hotter the person I sleep with, the more valuable I am. And that continued for several years. Well, with my ex, same scenario. I was online looking for sex. He, proposed meeting up at a sauna, having a P&P session, and he was beyond hot, just ridiculously hot. I was like, I was thinking to myself, I will do quite literally anything if it means I get to have sex with this guy. And so we did, and it was great fun. We had a great time. I was off my tits, but it was still a high is a high. It's enjoyable. I think people need to understand that. I passed out at one point, but that didn't matter because I was having sex with this guy. And we did that for hours all night. And then he called me a few days later and asked if I just wanted to hang out. No drugs, no sex, just hang out. So when he suggested dating, I absolutely went with it. It's like, I will never find anybody this hot. So there were indicators from very early on, like constant need to borrow money to make payroll for his small business and things like that. Him taking a half an hour to an hour in the bathroom before bed, like small things, but without context and not really knowing what they meant. And then as time went on, realizing that, where I would only occasionally have drugs to have sex, he was shooting up 4 or 5 times a day. And really his life was deteriorating because everything was being driven by addiction. And I had latched onto him. I pegged my life to his, and so I was going down with him. I lost track of linear time in a way. I try and remember back, and it's just noise. Whatever sense of self-worth I had started building as a result of that relationship just immediately crashed down, so I started going out and hooking up, and again, it was, now with these circles I was mixing in, meth was everywhere, so again, it's like, I never got quite to the point of addiction, but I was using every week, every other week, a couple days at a time. I was showing up to work high. Things like getting 3 a.m. calls from my boyfriend at the police station saying, I've been arrested, can you come bail me out? getting calls from owners of sex on premises venues saying, "Oh, he's OD'd, we don't want to call the cops or an ambulance, can you come pick him up?" These became commonplace things, and I just thought they were part of life. And it was in the middle of this that I was diagnosed with HIV. He came over to my apartment one morning, said he had gone to a bathhouse. He said strictly to get tested for HIV. Like, yeah, who goes to a bathhouse at 3 a.m. to get tested for HIV? But to his credit, he got tested, came straight over to my apartment, said, I just tested positive, you need to get tested too. So when I got my diagnosis later that day, it was kind of like, yeah, this is what I deserve. I earned this. There was still disconnect, though, because my first concern wasn't my own health, it was, how are other people going to perceive me? I will be so thoroughly rejected if people find out my status that I need to do everything I can to possibly keep it a secret. I just started trying being really with it and really together. I don't think there was any one moment or one event that told me that I needed to leave, that prompted me to get out of that situation. No, actually I do. There was one event. He called me, said he had just swallowed a bunch of sleeping pills, that he wanted to die, which wasn't new. Like, he had attempted suicide a couple times before. There would be him with his emergency, or his drug dealer calling me to manipulate me to do something, or me trying to look after my health, being pulled in so many different directions that all you kind of ended up with was this shell with a million cracks in it, that who knows what the next bit is going to be that blows it apart and leaves nothing. And, even thinking back on it, I can still feel that tension in my chest that I felt then, just as if somebody's clawing at it and trying to tear me in half. It still comes up, this sense of losing your bearings, of I don't know, if you want an image, it's a compass needle going in every direction at once and exploding. Like, there's just chaos. It's not a way to live a life for anybody. Here's the eternal optimist. There is hope. Whether you're watching a person you care about lose themselves or succumb, whatever word you want to use, struggle with addiction, or you are a person struggling with addiction, it seems like there's nothing left for you, that there's no way out, that you're just going to be condemned to this for the rest of time. That's not the case. It's a long process, and it's a difficult one. Things can get better. People can get better, and people can live happy lives. Something I never thought would happen. I'm in a relationship again, which is great, but I'm in a relationship with somebody who has gone through addiction and come out at the other side all the better. There's actually love and happiness there, which when you've gone through something that you think has killed a part of you, quite literally killed a part of you, that's a pretty remarkable thing to think of.